Did you know it's more likely for a former college athlete to become a couch potato than it is for the average student in college to? Yeah, we're going to be talking about that today. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Hey guys, I'm Sydney Mary, and this is Retired College Athletes, a platform designed to inspire and inform current and former athletes using stories and advice from retired college athletes. Today we're going to be reviewing some research from Dr. Sean Sorensen. He is a health and exercise scientist from the University of Southern California. Okay, so I know the intro, you're like, is it true that retired college athletes are more likely to become couch potatoes than the average student? Yes, that is true. And we're talking in the span of like many years, not necessarily even just like 1 to 5 years out, but more so like 10 to 25 years out, way more likely to become a couch potato. And there are so many reasons for that. So the first one is scheduled lifestyle versus actual motivation. So when you look at college athletes, you're like, oh my gosh, they're so in shape. You know, they love their sport, they love working out, all that stuff. But in reality, what has been learned through his research is that it's not even so much that college athletes love working out, they just love the structure that leads them to work out. Ultimately, college athletes love their sport, and with their sport, specifically in college, comes a lot of structure. You have nutritionists, you have dietitians, you have strength and conditioning coaches, you have your day pretty much scheduled out. Like you have your classes at a certain time, you have workouts at a certain time. And so workouts are really built into your life. They're a huge part of your life, but they're definitely scheduled out. Also, you are not actually programming any of these workouts. Your coach is coming with the practice plan. Your strength and conditioning coach is coming with your sheet of work to work through in the weight room. You are being taken through conditioning workouts, and physical therapy is with physical therapist. So, you know, you're with people the whole time helping you move through this process of being an athletic human being. But that all changes when you graduate and you're no longer a student athlete. One thing that has been realized from his research is that when you take the sport away, or it's not really a big part of your life, you actually lack the motivation to work out. You're literally like everyone else who is trying to find motivation to work out. And so if you are a current college athlete or a former college athlete that can't figure out why you don't enjoy working out anymore, why it's so hard for you to actually finally do it, considering you've spent your whole life being active, you're not alone. This is so normal, and his research proves it. On top of that, when you are a college athlete, you have these really specialized programs for you. So, of course, you're training specifically for your sport and not necessarily general fitness. So, a lot of your workouts are sport specific, as they should be. But when you are no longer a college athlete, you may not need sport specific workouts, but that's all you know. So, you're trying to kind of implement this form of fitness that may not actually mesh well with the rest of your life. One thing that's definitely mentioned in this research is that once the clear goals around sports are gone, it makes it a lot harder for those former athletes to really find joy around fitness, or just actually find themselves doing fitness in general, because there's nothing that they're really working towards. And I get it. For some of you guys, you are super driven and you want to do marathons and you're jumping into other sports, and that's awesome. But for the general, most athletes that are finishing their sport, that might not be the case. And one thing that I find is even when you try and replicate that after your sport, like you're still trying to keep your gains in the weight room, you're still trying to work on speed, the fact that you're working on speed for nothing in particular can be kind of draining. You kind of lose motivation. So what are some solutions to this? Well, I mean, it would be wonderful if schools would kind of give like a program that would help athletes transition out fitness-wise. I think it would be really cool to be able to work with your strength and conditioning coach or anybody else that you had really been working with for about 4 to 6 weeks after you were done with your sport, to kind of be taken through workouts that are not necessarily sport specific, but that you can use like well after you're done with your sport. In these sessions, you might just be training for general health rather than performance, and just figuring out what you could do on a daily basis to keep yourself fit that isn't necessarily sport specific or super intense. Also, whatever resources they give you in terms of sheets and workouts, you'd be able to take with you to reference for years after if you really needed it once you were done with your sport. In addition to that, I think the same thing should be done on the dietitian side. I think it would be really helpful to work with a nutritionist or a dietitian as you're transitioning out of your sport, because it's so necessary. I find that there are a lot of eating disorders that develop around this time as you're transitioning out of sport, because you really want to stay fit. You want to enjoy your athletic body for as long as you can, but because you're not working out as much, you feel like you need to cut food completely or cut things out or things like that. Things like that start to happen that aren't necessarily healthy or even necessary. And being able to work alongside a dietitian would be so helpful during this transition period as well. With that said, I know that these things are not in place. So one thing that I think that could be helpful to college athletes is seeking this out on your own. If you're going to be a retired college athlete soon, or you're currently a retired college athlete, seeking out somebody that you can train with that can help you kind of figure out these workout plans that work for you now in the season of life. That's not for your sport, but works for you today, as well as anything that a dietitian can give you in terms of, okay, this is what you need to be taking in for your body and for your general health right now. I think oftentimes, specifically on the female side, you may be cutting under just the recommended amount of calories that you should be eating a day just to try and make sure that you stay the same or that you lose weight. And so working with somebody who is super knowledgeable about that and can help you through this transition, understanding that your body will change, but can help you kind of just work through I think the mental side of it that comes with like eating after you're done with your sport and understanding that your body's taking some time to regulate itself, but just getting that help can be really beneficial. Ultimately, I created this video just to help you understand that there is research around the fact that it's not uncommon for college athletes and former college athletes to become couch potatoes. If you are struggling to get active, you're struggling with your workouts, and you're like, what is wrong with me? I used to run miles. I used to do this. I was so fit. Like, you are perfectly fine. This is not abnormal. Like, you're not strange. There's nothing crazy is happening. It's very normal. And so I'm going to link this article that I used from Dr. Sean Sorensen down below for you to check out. I think it was really helpful to read through and just understand that, like, again, this is not uncommon. With that said, I hope you found this video insightful. I hope you learned something from it and that you could possibly resonate with it. If you did enjoy it, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing, and hitting the bell notification so you don't miss a video from me. I post on Thursdays and some Sundays, and you can get content similar to this talking about athletics, retired college athletes, and the transition out of sport. If you enjoy that topic, if you enjoy anything that I talked about, please again consider sticking around, and I'll talk to you guys next week.